Clearly something is happening, just quietly and slowly and steadily. So in a few years' time, maybe we won't be criminals. That'd be great. So Radic, come and tell people your people. Is there people who've never been to a workshop before here? Yeah, good on you guys. Appreciate you coming. So we should start from the beginning, really, and get the basics. And here's a guy who's been making medical cannabis for how long? 30 years. Long time. Known as Radic L.
Thank you. Greetings, welcome, and thanks for coming along. Okay. Medical cannabis. Cannabis is a medicine. We all know that. Yeah? And it's now legal. However, it's legal to produce, it's legal to manufacture, but it's not legal to possess. And that's only because the laws have been just stalled because of double disillusion, right? Because we've got to have this election. After the election, they can make laws that will be laws. Now they can only make guidelines. Okay, so we're all in this limbo at the moment, not being able to do anything. And that is no help for anybody who needs medicine now. Okay? To make the medicine, it's very, very easy. People have been doing it for like thousands of years. Yeah? We've got records of it that date back in China 5,000 years. In India, 6,000 years. This really, medicine, is what got us all here today, because all of our lines trace back through all these areas. And if they weren't using medicine, because they went through a lot, then we wouldn't be here. So the modern medicines of today are really an alternative experiment that's never been tried before. But medicinal cannabis is tried and proven for thousands and thousands of years. Okay? Now, oops. There's just so much record of it, and yet it's 100% safe. There's no record in all of this time, 5,000 years, 6,000 years in India. There's no record of anyone dying, no record of anyone suffering a symptom that didn't wear off. Okay, so nothing is permanent. It always wears off. And the reason this being is because inside our own bodies, everybody's body, inside, we have a system in there that cannabis locks into. And cannabis actually mimics our own body's chemicals that we produce ourselves inside our body. And it just mimics this system called the endocannabinoid system. Yeah? Endo means naturally in our body, and cannabinoid because that's how we found out about this system. We didn't even know it worked, or how it worked, or that it even existed until we decided to find out how cannabis affects us. So they named it anything that works in this system a cannabinoid, endocannabinoid. Phytocannabinoids are plant-based cannabinoids, and of course synthetic cannabinoids are made in the laboratory. Now, when we take cannabis into our bodies, all we are doing is we are boosting our own endocannabinoid system. And why would you want to do that? Because the endocannabinoid system balances and regulates every other system in our body down to a cellular level. And this means that everything cannabis tries to do, or our endocannabinoid system is regulated to do, is to make everything work as it should. Yeah, everything work as it should, which means you're going to be healthy and 100% healthy. And if it's not working as it should, then something in our endocannabinoid system is not dealing with it, or it's broken, or it's damaged, or it's not working properly. Because our endocannabinoid system is the thing that makes us and keeps us healthy. Okay? And so when we add cannabis to it, all we do is boost that system. Just like if you wanted to put some weight on, you boost your diet by adding a bit of protein powder to it. Yeah? It's just a supplement. So the same with taking cannabis. It's just supplementing our natural body's healing system. Yeah? And that's why it's never killed anybody, and that's why it never makes any permanent symptoms. And it's also why it affects everybody differently. Because everybody needs different things to get to perfect balance, right? And cannabis can do that. Endocannabinoids actually control that in our body. So, if we want to, when we look at it from a medicinal point of view, medicinal cannabis therapy is dose dependent. Now, dose dependent means that your healing rate, how fast you heal, is dependent on your dose rate, how big a dose you have. So if you have big doses, you'll get fast healing. If you have small doses, you'll still get your healing, but it will be slower. So this is ideal for medicine, because this is like, if you're not getting the effect that you want, so you've got a headache, it just means you're not taking a big enough dose. So just keep taking it until the headache goes. Simple as that. Same if you want to kill cancer, except that might be more than just a couple of doses. You just continually take it and continually increase your dose until the cancer is gone. And your own body is doing that, not the cannabis. All you're doing is boosting your own body's natural healing system. One more thing I would really like to tell you is that even though they get all these laws in place and so on, most of them don't really affect us. They only affect people who want to be in the business, yeah, who want to have a registered business, a name and so on. But just somebody who wants to treat themselves, we have a right to self-medicate. You can do this with echinacea. If you get a cold, you can grow echinacea, you can make echinacea tincture, you can make echinacea subliminals, you can make all sorts of echinacea herbal medicines, you can grow it in your own garden. There's no law against that. You have a right to do that. It's called self-medication, and even if you go into court, you can say that you're self-medicating and they will totally accept that. So when we talk about cannabis from a medicinal perspective, on a personal level, we all have the right to self-medicate. Yeah? So all we need for that to happen legally is for them to accept that cannabis has medicinal qualities. At the moment, as we speak now, it doesn't, and they do not accept that. It's the TGA who's in control of that, and the TGA cannot change anything until after the election. They're set to change it. They're going to bring it down to S8. Currently it's in S9, which is no medicinal use. But when they do change it, probably just after the election, it will probably move to S8, which is the most restricted that you can have. But they do accept that it has medical use, and that means courts, judges, everybody officially, doctors, all of those people can accept that it has a medical use, so if you're using it for a medicine, all you need to do from then on is to convince them that it's actually good for that. So you just need some scientific documentation that, you know, they might have looked at mice or whatever, but not treated it on people. That's enough. That's enough for them to say, okay, we accept that it has medicinal use. You get migraines and you say you smoke a joint and that gets rid of it. We've got some evidence to prove that it is an analgesic with mice and so on. They can accept that and say, okay, so then that's self-medication, and that's, you know, you've probably got a pretty good chance of not being even charged. So, does anyone have any sort of questions they'd like to ask about things? Yeah?
You were saying about increase the dose until the cancer disappears. Well, I mean, if we're talking about the tumour,
Yep.
the tumour goes into remission.
Yep.
So what's the experience?
Okay. There's 3 ways that I know of that cannabis kills cancer, but there's many more. Okay, but these 3 main ways are autopsy, which means it actually switches the cell off, tells it to commit suicide, and that then in turn stops any growth of veins going into the cancer, to the tumour, so it can't grow. Okay, so that stops it straight away. And then the third thing that it does is it scrubs free radicals out of your blood. It's the most powerful antioxidant that we know of. And so it stops it from spreading. Okay? And how do you get that effect? You just keep taking it, keep building up your dose until that effect starts happening. That's what dose dependent means. No, but you can if you want to, because it's only boosting your immune system. You wouldn't be eating that much that you needed to kill cannabis. You'd be on a maintenance dose, which would be minute, small, tiny. If you wanted to, but you could not. If you don't want it, sure, you can stop. Like when you get a headache, all right? You take your analgesics until the headache's gone. You don't keep taking them after that, you stop, right? Same thing with cancer. You take it until the cancer goes. After that, you don't need it anymore, you can stop. If you want. Does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Are you aware of how it relates to chemo?
Well, chemo means it kills cancer cells. All right? Cannabis is the best chemotherapy you can do, because it doesn't kill healthy cells. It nurtures healthy cells. The problem with the doctor's chemotherapy is that it kills every cell, healthy or not. They just try and target it into that area. But every cell in that area will die. It's very, very good to have cannabis with chemotherapy, and there are scientific studies coming out recently saying that the entourage effect seems to be working very well with these two. That both of them together have more powerful effect than either one of them by itself. And that means you need less of both to get the same effect. Okay? So that's very good, because that means you need less chemotherapy when you have them together. Why that happens is because cannabis not only does kill the cancer, so that it's helping to kill helping the chemotherapy to kill the cancer cells, but it's also protecting and nurturing all the cells around it. You see? So it's making it easier for you to deal with it. It's keeping your other cells around you healthy whilst the cancer is being killed, and also helping the cancer die. And that's why the entourage effect is more powerful than having either one of them by themselves. I've helped many people through cancer. I started out doing this about 94, 95, something like that. I read a book saying that cannabis is a herb. Well, before that I thought cannabis was a drug, just like everybody, you know, cannabis is a drug, get addicted, blah, blah, blah. I didn't realise it was a herb. Once I realised it was a herb, all the pennies just dropped in my head, because my father, teaching me all about herbs as I was growing up, I knew exactly what to do with cannabis. And so I started doing it. Straight away, that day, I'd pulled up a few plants earlier on. It had been raining heaps, and they'd washed the roots totally clean. You know, just sparkling white. And I thought, great, these will do fine. So I chopped them off and I made up a root ointment, because I suffer from chronic pain. I've got crushed vertebrae in my back. And so I made up this root ointment and I put it straight on my back. Instantly, I was feeling better. Instantly, it took the pain away. You know, I was like quite shocked at it, really. And so I just wanted to try it on anything and everything from then on. So the next person that I tried it on, this guy here had a tropo on his foot, a tropical ulcer, big one on his right foot here. He could hardly walk. And two of his friends carried him over to my place. We were living on a commune, there was hippies everywhere, you know. Anyway, so they carried him over to my place, and I put this ointment, this cream, on his foot, and within an hour he walked home, got in his car, drove all the way to the Mullumbimby Hospital, and that was the closest hospital, and they said if it doesn't start going down, because it was inflaming, very inflamed, if it doesn't start going down, we're going to have to amputate your foot. Well, he never lost his foot. It went down by the morning. So,
How did you make that from the root?
okay, that's really easy to do. All you do is you get your roots nice and clean, yeah, and then just mash them all up as best you can, and that's not so easy. But you get through it, okay? Mash them up, mortar some pestle, whatever, yeah? Get them all mashed up. Put them in some water, preferably demineralised water, yeah? Because you're going to boil this. And that's all you do. Just boil it and 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 boil it. It takes about 4 to 6 hours, and then strain it, and then reduce it, and it becomes a white cream. It's beautiful to look at.
So do the roots have to be dry or fresh?
Both, either way. But fresh is best. Fresh is always best. Every herbalist will tell you that. However, we can't always get fresh whenever we want it, so that's why we use dry. Dry is the next best. Now, to make all of these medicines, it's just so simple. People have been doing it for thousands of years. And I want to do some workshops, if anybody's interested, where on a one-to-one basis, or maybe just a half a dozen of us or so, we can actually go through the process and make some medicines. If you obviously want it for particular reasons, then we will make certain medicines out of cannabis to suit your particular ailments. If anybody's interested in doing things like that, I'll be taking bookings, so just come and see me, and we'll work it all out. We can make high THC medicines or high CBD medicines, or a mixture of both. And we'll talk about why we would want to do that. Because CBD has many, many qualities in itself. However, when you mix them together with THC, again we get an entourage effect, where we get a better effect from the two of them mixed together than we do from either one of them kept separately. Now, we want to do that for particular reasons. Like, if we want to kill cancer, that's a good way to do it. If you want to just, have a muscle relaxant for a massage thing, then you may not need so much THC, mostly CBD. So what we want it for, we need to consider before we make it. And then it's so easy to make. We can do it. Well, I was thinking, say, in a 4-hour session, I could teach us how to make, first of all, hash oil, because hash oil is the most important ingredient. From that, you can make an oil infusion very accurately, and we need to be accurate if we're going to make medicine. Okay? An oil infusion, which you could use anything from suppositories to massage oil to taken internally. And depending on the strength is what you want to use it for. Okay? A cannabis tincture. There are a few different types of tincture, but you can make them all from hash oil. And it's very quick and simple. And why would you want to make a cannabis tincture? Because cannabis tincture is one of the quickest onsets. And you want a very quick onset if you're suffering from chronic pain or headaches or something that you want, a seizure or something you want to get rid of straight away. You can't wait 2 hours for it. Effects to come on. You want the effects to come on straight away. So cannabis tincture is ideal for that. And then you can make topicals. Now, why would you want to make topicals? Because topicals bypass the blood system altogether and just drop it straight in the area where you want the cannabinoids to be and slow release it there for ages. And that would be very good for chronic pain, if you've got chronic pain like I'd suffer in my back, or say, again, headaches, you can just rub it into wherever the head's hurting. The headache will go away pretty quick. Because that's having cannabinoids released into that area slowly over a long period of time, which is going into your endocannabinoid system straight away and quelling whatever it needs to be quelled to stop the pain. So all of this can be made from hash oil, and within a matter of a couple of hours to 4 hours, I suppose, we could go through this. So it would be sort of like an afternoon medical workshop. And then if you wanted to do on a personal level, we can discuss that too. Yeah? Okay. Anybody got any more questions? Yeah?
Could you suggest, just back that up, a chronic pain issue?
Yes?
What could you suggest if I'm going down the street now, what should I be basically doing by every pain issue as a muscular pain?
Okay. Well, for the severe attacks, when you're trying to get hard to move and breathe, yeah? Because I don't know if you get that, but I get that, and it's very hard for me to breathe in, and if I'm coughing, is just can't think of that at all. Sneezing, no way, that would just reduce me to tears and put me flat on my back. In those stages. And then I would use cannabis tincture, straight away, straight under the tongue, and that will alleviate all that fear. And then I would rub in the ointment straight into the affected area, because again, that would have muscle relaxants in it, antispasmodics in it, so that will relieve and continue to relieve the stress in that area, which is causing my brain to freak out, going, oh, there's pain everywhere. Yeah?
So that's the same stuff. So you take the tincture and then you do the same thing.
You can use tincture topically, but again, it comes on fast, but it doesn't last as long. So if you mix it with oil and a bit of beeswax, you'll make a topical ointment, like a balm, and then that will slowly release the cannabinoids into that area. It's very easy to do all that. Yeah.
Let's say an arthritis pain, for instance, would a balm be the thing that should be using then?
Definitely. Yes, a balm will be your saviour. Yeah. And you only need the tincture for when it's really terrible. Yeah? And so you'd only use that maybe, when the wind changes or it's going to rain or something like that, bones start aching. Or to help you sleep, because it'll help you sleep pretty quickly. When you're dealing with a lot of pain, it's very hard to sleep. Oh, sorry. Oh, here we are. Yes, as you can see, the medical properties of CBD are amazing. It's just so full. And now, they haven't got much on THC there. The reason that being is because you need another chart for THC as well. All right? And that's really put together by people who want to promote CBD. And CBD is a good, very, very good product. Okay? And by itself it has uses, but THC mixed with CBD. Now, why do I say that? Because this comes from traditional medicine. All right? When we tested, and we look at all the tests that the police did in the 60s and 70s, of all the hashish that they busted all through Europe and so on, we find that the THC and CBD levels are around about 50%, around about equal. A little bit more, a little bit less. Some of them even had 80% THC, but most of them were around about 50%, which says to me that traditionally that was the kind of herb that they grew. Why did they do that? Because they grew it for a medicine. They knew it was a medicine, and they would use it for medicines. It's only been stamped out of our psychic, really, in the last 100 years, and given the cannabis out of the thought of it being a medicine. Yeah. Okay, so THC and CBD. Another test they did was in Morocco. It was a soil test, and they found that the more that you grow the same strain in the same soil with the same farming practices, which is very common, the more the THC and CBD levels want to equalise. And again, that says to me, all of the medicines, even though we can't test it because we haven't got any left, from prior prohibition, were around about 50% THC and CBD. They put them in 80 to 90% of every prescription that was written before prohibition, which says 80 to 90% of all our ailments can be treated with cannabis, and the cannabis that they used then was about 50-50 THC and CBD. Am I taking up too much time? Someone else wants... Yes?
When you say tincture, is that an alcohol suspension or?
Yes, alcohol, because alcohol has a job. It takes it into your blood very fast, and that's what we want when we use a tincture. That's the reason that we're using it, so that the alcohol will get it into your blood quickly for quick relief.
What's the difference between the oil suspension and the tincture suspension?
Good question. The tincture suspension is for quick onset, and you don't really want it to last too long, so you just want it to get rid of your headache and get away so you can go and do your job, right? So it's ideal for those kind of situations. Whereas an oil infusion, usually it's got to go through all your internal systems, and depending on which oil you use, it's got to go through either your lymphatic system or through your liver and your kidneys, right? And either way, it's going to take hours to get through those three, and then it's going to be completely different. It's going to be more powerful because it's going to be changed from THC into THC CHOO, which is stronger. Okay? So if you don't want those effects, then you use tincture. If you do want those effects, now why would you want it stronger? Because you're suffering from pain or cancer or something that you really need some powerful endocannabinoids or phytocannabinoids to boost your system for. So they all have uses, and it's all very different, and it's really just a matter of application as to why to treat each ailment. Yeah?
You recommend the oil or the tincture?
Topicals? Same rules apply for a topical. You can use a tincture for a topical, but it'll come on very quickly, but it won't last very long. If you use an oil infusion for a topical mixed with beeswax, then it will take longer to go into your skin, and it will slow release for longer. So depends on what you want it for. Alcohol rubs are really good. You know, they're the fast ones where you and you rub really fast and it's all done. Yeah, but that doesn't last very long, but it gets you feeling good. Well, same rules apply to medicine. Yeah? If you want the onset fast and it doesn't need to last very long, alcohol's a good way to go. If you want it to last long, and it doesn't matter if it takes a while to come on, then go the oil infusions. Yes?
So I'm just new to this, so I haven't got like a mental picture of what it looks like. So if you buy, to get the tincture, you have to buy that, and then you make up your own balm, or you can buy it like oil infused as well, or how do you make it yourself? Or
Yeah, you can make it all yourself. It's,
get a tincture.
well, all of these products are available at the moment in Nimbin. Okay? It's because, you know, we're all hippies and we love making our own medicines. You know, we've been doing that for a long time, and as soon as we realised that cannabis was a medicine, well, everyone's gone mad and made all this medicine. So there's some very high quality medicines around. There's a really good balm. I gave the people the recipe who made it. The balm is, I think it's 8 times extract, which means, well, if you do any of the courses with me, you'll understand what I mean. But 8 times means it's 8 times more powerful than a full strength extract. And they do 3 different extracts. They do an extract of the roots, they do an extract of the leaf, and they do an extract of the buds. So then they've got 3 different extracts, right? 1, 2, 3. Then they mix them together in equal portions, add a bit of beeswax, and there's your balm.
We get that today.
Yep. Yep. I think you'll find that at the embassy. And it'll be very good for chronic pain, for your arthritis. Totally. Yeah.
So you say the embassy is the place to buy the delivery?
Yes. Yes, we have plenty down there.
Is that downstairs?
No, that's upstairs. Yeah. In the fridge at the back. Okay, there's a couple of fridges there. It's the one at the back. Just follow it up there. Or just ask someone for some balm. They'll help you. It's very cheap too.
Okay, so your process used for separating the CBD and the THC, or?
No. There's no process for that. You either make THC extract or you make CBD extract. What you make it from is either high in THC or high in CBD. You can get plants that have an equal extract, an equal THC and CBD level, but they're pretty rare. Mostly for recreational use, everybody loves high THC, and for hemp, everybody loves high CBD. So you can just get either one of those two plants, and you will have either high THC extract from the high THC, or from hemp you'll get a high CBD content. So you just mix them together in equal proportions, and you're laughing.
So the CBD oil is still got THC components in it.
Very small amount. Very small amount.
My CBD plant, is that right?
Beg your pardon?
The